Hi guys. So this will be my last video about the subject of death and dying. It has been 2 weeks since I lost my Andy. I can't believe it's been that long. It seems just like yesterday. Still, um, I kind of want to tie things together, hopefully, because obviously going through the pain and sharing that, I might not have been completely coherent with some of the things that I was trying to bring across to you about the death and dying and moving on process. So, first and foremost, talk to your loved ones about your death. Make it perfectly clear to them what you want done. Write it down, even. Um, you don't have to do a will. I suggest that you do. If you have larger property, more children, then you might want to think along the lines of something like a trust, which is what my parents had. They have a trust where the house, the bank accounts, all of that stuff is in trust, and they said, okay, when we both go, this is what we want to have happen to all of this stuff, all our merchandise and things. So that's another great option, but you need to discuss these things with your loved one. You also need to discuss how you want your remains to be taken care of. Do you want a full on burial? Do you want to be cremated? Do you want your urn in a mausoleum? Do you want your urn at home with your loved one? Nowadays, death has become much more eco friendly, and there are so many different ways that you can put yourself to rest that will not only help you, but will also help the earth as well. I'm going to put a link down below for Catherine Dowdy, Caitlin Dowdy. Caitlin Dowdy runs a funeral home up here in LA. It's called Undertaking LA, and it's an eco friendly, death positive um, funeral home. And there are so many options. You can have a natural burial, which where they will just cover you in a sheet and put you in the ground, and you will decompose back to Mother Earth. There are, because when you do a traditional burial, although you decompose, the casket does not. And we are running out of places, plots to physically bury people. Caskets are often lined with concrete in order to, of course, it contain the smell of decomposition. And so that takes up space. And it's non reusable space because, as I said, although the body decomposes, the casket does not. So they have more eco friendly ways of doing this. There are some companies who will take your ashes and literally crush them, and they will make like a diamond out of them that you can wear on a pendant. You can actually wear your loved one. They have places where you can get a little vial of your loved one's ashes. I've had people ask me if I'm going to do that with Andy, and I'm not. I have so many wonderful memories of Andy in our house that I really don't need a piece of him to do that. I'm okay. Um, so yeah, these are things that you really need to, as difficult as they are, and it is difficult. It's difficult to think about your demise. It's difficult to think about a family member's demise. Um, I struggled a lot with that initially with my mother's death and coming to terms with the fact that she was not going to get well and that she was literally dying in front of me. And um, I did okay with her death, but I did not do as well as I could have in processing things. And Andy's process has been better, and I'm going to kind of explain about that a little bit. But anyway, the biggest thing I want you to take away from this is it's okay to talk about death. This is an eventuality for all of us. And this subject that has been taboo for so many years needs not to be. It's a part of life, it's the natural cycle of things. Whether, it's known or unknown when it's going to happen, it's still going to happen. And eventually you need to talk about it. And let me tell you, as far as the preparations and things goes, it's comforting to have that because you don't have to really think, because things are already put in place. You don't have to scramble for who do I call, what do I do, how do I handle this, who needs what kind of information. Because although your loved one is gone and you are in pain and agony, businesses really don't care. People do, but businesses don't care. So you're going to need to be mindful of, if it was somebody who was on the title to the house, the bank accounts, any of the bills to the home, the mortgages. I mean, you will need to have their name removed from all of these things. That's a process you're going to have to go through. Um, what I have discovered is that when the medical examiner finishes what he's doing, the funeral home will offer you as part of your package copies of death certificates. Okay, get them from the funeral home first because they go up exponentially in price afterwards. I would suggest getting a minimum of 5 death certificates. And this is because, in order to remove somebody from an account, they need a copy of the death certificate. Now, fortunately, we're in the days of electronics, and a lot of companies will just accept a scanned copy of the death certificate. In the old days, you used to have to physically provide a copy of the death certificate, and that you could run into using 10 to 15 certificates. So nowadays, not so much. I would suggest a minimum of 5 death certificates. Um, and then you won't ever have to worry about having that again. Uh, so that is the business side of death and dying. These are things that you need to talk about, you need to work out, you need to make plans for, um, and all of that. The other thing to keep in mind, I wasn't aware of this, and I'm going to throw this as an additional, but if you're going to have your loved one cremated, most crematoriums will handle up to 300 pounds. Um, so if you're under 300 pounds, not a problem. My Andy was not. My Andy was a big man. I love my big guys. So my Andy was a big man, and I found that out the hard way. That the company I had planned to go with said, "Well, we can't take him." So there are very few, even in California, close by, that will accommodate someone who is over 300 pounds. Now, Monday, I have to drive an hour away from here to the crematorium to finally make the final arrangements for Andy. It took a few days for me to find somebody and then for them to work me in. So keep that also in the back of your mind if you have a larger sized loved one, that you'll need to find a crematorium that will handle a larger size individual. So, that being the business side of things, now I'm going to talk about the emotional side of things. Obviously, you are distraught, you are beside yourself, you are grief stricken. It's terrible, it's awful. Those first several days afterwards, you just want to curl up in a ball and let the world go, and you're numb. You're just absolutely numb. And with my mom's death, I didn't let myself have that time. I bottled it all up and I trudged on because, Mom and I had the conversation and I knew all of these things, and, We said everything there was to say between us, which we did, and I'm okay, I'm good. Right. That lasted about a month, and then I absolutely lost my shit. You need to let yourself grieve. Feel that pain, feel that hurt, feel that grief, and sit with it. You don't have to live there long, but sit with it, let it out. I screamed, not at home, always in my car. I screamed in my car. I cried. I cursed. I hollered. I let my emotions out any which way that I could because I could not keep them bottled up inside. I was so angry at him for leaving me. So angry. There's a part of me that's still angry. But you know, that's okay. That's okay. That's also part of the grieving process. But the initial shock and everything that comes with it, you have to let that out. The other grief will come out in bits and pieces through time. You will see things that remind you of that person and you will tear up or you will cry or you'll see something that'll make you angry about that person. And the same thing will happen. And this is going to be a continuous thing for quite some time. There is no time limit on grief. You know, there isn't. People can grieve for years, they can grieve for months. It it just is something that, you know, it happens and um so yeah, yeah. Um I already posted in the face on Facebook the right things and the wrong things to say to someone who is grieving. And I must say, my wonderful witchy tarot tribe, you guys were just absolutely fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. And I don't know if it's just because of you as people are more sensitive or because you are witchy and spiritually inclined. I don't know, but your outpouring of love was exactly what I needed. Nobody tried to fix me or anything. You all just said, we love you and we're here for you and we're holding space for you. And it was just wonderful and so nice to know that my community was thinking about me in my time of need. Not trying to fix me, not trying to help me, anything other than just saying, we love you, we're holding this love here for you, take as much time as you need. And I can't tell you how incredibly that was important that was to me at this time with my Andy, how much that meant to me. Um, so wonderful job, guys, wonderful job. Um, so yes, definitely take the time. Now, when my mom passed away, I didn't take very much time off work at all. And I ended up paying the price because later on I ended up taking quite a bit more time off than I would have if I had just let myself feel those feelings initially. But this time I took an entire week off of work. This coming Tuesday, I go back to work and I took the whole week off, and I've just had time to do me. I have been extremely selfish this week in caring for myself and doing what I feel best for me um, to start the healing process. I've been very lucky. Well, I had to ask, of course. My stepdad, his kids, I had to ask them, but they have been gracious and they've taken Jim to dinner every night this week and will continue to do so until Tuesday. And then Tuesday, I'll get him back and I'll try and get him back into a somewhat more regular routine because he's been out of his routine. And for someone with dementia, that's a little confusing. Been more than a bit confused. Not to mention the fact that, my Andy had just got a cat about a month and a half ago, and the cat is here now, and so he's kind of trying to get used to her as well. That's a wonderful reminder of my Andy, because I have his Baker kitty, who was named after Baker Mayfield of the Cleveland Browns, because my guy was a huge Cleveland Browns fan. So um, I'll be carrying that forward. So anyway, some of the things I did basically was just nothing. I spent a lot of time on Facebook. I didn't say much, and YouTube. I didn't say much, but I was watching videos and reading stuff, but I wasn't liking or loving my posts as I usually do. I was just kind of hanging out in the background, and so I saw all your good works and everything like that. So that was helpful. The other thing too that I was doing to try and work through my grief was reading books on the subject, and so I have a few books I'm going to share. It was interesting. This book here, In the Service of Life, A Wiccan Perspective on Death. I had just received this book maybe 2 weeks before my Andy passed. Like I said, dark time of the year, and I had been talking about death and dying. I'd mentioned Caitlin Dowdy before and stuff, so having no idea that it was going to perhaps lead up here. Then I found this one. This is a terrific book. I love this. Entering the Sutherland, Elaine McCoy. Elaine McCoy, I tell you, my soul sister, Jennifer Willowind, turned me on to Elaine McCoy, and I'm just thrilled that she did. I'm really enjoying all of her books. And then the other thing I did to soothe my soul was retail therapy. Yeah, I was buying books and things, crystals and stuff during my downtime, because I did the same thing with my mom, trying to fill that hole that is left. But you, after you do it for a little bit, you realize that nothing is going to fill that hole. But I got some cool stuff, so yay. Um, so a couple other books that I picked up yesterday from my local metaphysical shop. That's something else I did. The last 2 days I have returned to what I call living. Um, Saturday, Saturday, Friday, Friday. Friday, I decided that I had to force myself out of the house. I have been sequestered in the house all week long, haven't gone any place except out to eat something and come home. And I decided I have to get out, because I have to start living again. You have to get back into society. And so I went down to my local metaphysical shop, and it was Black Friday. And I was amazed, because literally the shop was empty. Empty, absolutely empty. It was me and the owner. Um, and she's such a sweet soul. She's like, you take as long as you want. You sit down, you read, whatever. So I spent a wonderful couple hours sitting in the metaphysical store, reading through books, and of course I bought some. And so one of the books I got is this one, The Goddess is in the Details, Deborah Blake. I didn't think she is the one who did the Everyday Witch Tarot. And I thought this would be a very beginner book. And some of it is, but she's got a really good section in here on death and dying and processing in the afterlife. And for that alone, this was a fab book. So that was great. And then the other book I came across too was this one, The Way of Four spell book by Deborah Lepp. I still have to get The Way of Four, the original book that goes with the spell book. But this also had some interesting and good information on death and processing and things of that nature. I have a couple more books coming on the subject that, again, Soul Sister Jen with her magical library. I reached out to her and asked her if she had any good book recommendations for dealing with death and dying. And bless her heart, she did. So I have a couple more books coming on that. Um, Now, I return to the land of the living on Tuesday. And we're going back into the spiritual garage. These are my final words on death and dying and the process. I hope this has been useful information to my community as I move forward in my life. And you guys will all be a part of this new journey. I want to take you the whole way. As you know, I'll be moving out of the spiritual garage at some time, but it's going to be quite a long process because I'm not moving fast at all. I need to literally renovate my home. I love my Andy, but there were a lot of things that are broken over at the house that he never told me about because he never wanted me to worry about anything. He always wanted to take care of it and take care of me. And so there are quite a few things I need to fix at the house before I can actually move back in. And, so I'm going to take you on that journey with me. As long as it takes, it might take, 6 to 8 months, might take a year, but yeah, we're going to I'm going to take you with me on a journey of moving into what I think I'm going to call the witch house. That sounds like a good idea, the witch house. So, all right, guys, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'll answer as best I can. I'm sending you so much chakra love from a full and grateful heart for all the wonderful, wonderful people in this community. I could not have got through this without you. I'm telling you the truth. Your love. There were days where I didn't think I could keep going, but all your thoughts and comments and love and Reiki and just everything powered me through another day. So I can't thank you enough. Mwah! I love you guys so much. I'll see you next time.